This is not just a story about a trash can. It's about what happens when power, arrogance, and obsession collide with stubborn resilience and a little bit of creative revenge. My neighbor, who I'll just call the HOA Karen of our block, thought she could bully me into submission by destroying my property over and over again. What she didn't realize was that her crusade against my trash can would spiral into lawsuits, fraud investigations, criminal charges, and ultimately, the collapse of her reputation and control. But before the community knew her as the woman who wrecked her own $60,000 Escalade on a reinforced garbage bin, she was simply Brenda, the self-appointed enforcer of our neighborhood. And to understand how everything unraveled, I need to take you back to the very first morning it happened. It was a Tuesday in September. Early morning. The kids were getting ready for school, and I was juggling coffee, backpacks, and lunch boxes. Out of nowhere, crack. The sound was so sharp and violent I thought something exploded outside. I rushed out to find my brand new trash can obliterated across the driveway. Coffee filters, banana peels, and cereal boxes scattered like confetti. And there she was. Brenda. Sitting in her oversized pearl-white Escalade, window rolled down, with that fake, saccharine smile. "Oh my, Marcus," she cooed. "These streets are just so narrow. I hope you weren't too attached to that old thing." Old thing? I had bought that trash can less than a week ago. I wanted to shout, but I bit my tongue. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she'd misjudged the curb. I cleaned it up, embarrassed as my kids watched me scramble in my pajamas, and let it slide. But by Friday, it had happened 4 times. That's when I realized it wasn't an accident. Our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Olivia, confirmed my suspicion. "She takes the long side around on purpose," she whispered. "Plenty of room other way. But she always drives close to yours." When I confronted Brenda, she didn't even deny it. She smiled and lectured me about community living and proper trash placement timing. That phrase stuck with me. Placement timing adjustments. Like there was some magical hour when the garbage truck would collect trash without the can actually being on the curb. That's when I knew. This wasn't about traffic flow. It was about control. I started digging into municipal codes and HOA bylaws. And what I found shocked me. Legally, my can had to be within 3 feet of the curb on collection day. HOA rules? They had no authority over the public right-of-way. Which meant Brenda wasn't just petty, she was flat-out lying. When intimidation failed, she switched tactics. A week later, I got a certified violation notice, improper trash receptacle placement creating a traffic hazard. She cited obscure HOA codes and gave me 72 hours to fix it or face daily fines. I knew she was bluffing, but I also knew she had friends on the board. So I documented everything. I set up a Ring doorbell camera. I got a professional survey showing my can was exactly where it should be. Mrs. Olivia even gave me a statement. Meanwhile, Brenda was staging her own smear campaign online, next-door posts, fake complaints to the city, even bogus witness statements she clearly wrote herself. It was neighborhood psychological warfare. And then she went further. At the next HOA meeting, she tried to humiliate me in front of the community, claiming I was endangering children and refusing to follow rules. But this time, I came armed with evidence. I read city ordinances word for word. I showed my survey. I even mentioned the property rights attorney I'd consulted. Brenda's face went pale. The board had no defense. They tabled the issue. For the first time, the power shifted. But she wasn't done. As we left that meeting, Brenda cornered me in the parking lot under buzzing security lights. "You think you're smart?" she hissed. "People like you come into decent neighborhoods and think the rules don't apply. This is just the beginning." Her voice carried. Neighbors overheard. The racist undertones in her words were clear. My phone, recording from my pocket, captured everything. That night, my daughter Emma asked me, "Why does the mean lady hate us so much?" I promised her it would be okay. But inside, I knew this was becoming bigger than trash cans. By November, she had bombarded me with violation notices, grass length, mailbox color, window screen tiers so small you'd need a magnifying glass. All while other neighbors had the same issues untouched. That's when I decided, if she wanted a war, I'd give her one. A conversation with a contractor buddy gave me the idea. There was no law about what material a trash can could be made of, so long as it fit the size requirements. So I built a concrete trash can. 60 pounds of reinforced concrete hidden inside a standard plastic shell. Looked perfectly normal on the outside. Completely indestructible inside. The next Monday, right on schedule, Brenda barreled down the street. Thunk. Her Escalade bounced off my fortress. Running board bent. Paint scraped. My trash can didn't even wobble. She tried again. And again. Each attempt left more damage on her SUV. Within a week, her repairs totaled over $800. And the best part? 100% legal. By now, the neighborhood was buzzing. Kids timed her collisions. Teens placed bets. Parents whispered about the crazy woman with the trash can obsession. Brenda, however, became consumed. She stalked my property at night, trying to weigh the can with a bathroom scale. She filed bogus building code complaints. She interrogated neighbors at hardware stores. Her Escalade looked like it had gone through a demolition derby. My can? Still standing. But then came the real discovery. One honest board member, Patricia Lopez, pulled me aside. Marcus, she whispered, Brenda's pushing contracts for a company tied to her name. And she's been railroading anyone who questions expenses. That set off alarm bells. I dug through public records. What I found turned everything upside down. Brenda wasn't just a control freak. She was a thief. She had formed Whitmore Construction LLC 6 months earlier. Since then, the HOA had awarded them over $23,000 in maintenance contracts, all approved by Brenda herself. Classic conflict of interest. Classic fraud. Her war against me? It started just days after I first asked why HOA spending seemed so inflated. My trash can wasn't her real target. I was. And now, I had the evidence. I gathered allies in my garage, Mrs. Olivia, Patricia, Jim the maintenance guy, and Dale the contractor. Together, we built a case. We mapped every contract, every violation, every harassment incident. We gathered petitions, signatures, and testimonies. The community began to turn. Neighbors who once stayed quiet now saw Brenda for what she was, not a protector of rules, but a manipulator stealing from everyone's dues. And with a lawyer on my side, we prepared for the next step, legal action. By December, Brenda's Escalade had racked up over $12,000 in damage. My can still stood untouched. At the board meeting, confronted with evidence of embezzlement, harassment, and discrimination, Brenda cracked. She tried to shout me down, but this time, no one supported her. Within weeks, she faced removal from the board, criminal investigation for fraud, and a lawsuit from multiple neighbors. I settled with her for $12,000 in damages, every cent of what she cost me in stress, replacement cans, legal fees, and wasted time. Her reputation? Shattered. Her Escalade? Unsellable. Her control? Gone. Brenda thought she could bully me into silence. She thought she could intimidate me with fake authority and a luxury SUV. But in the end, her obsession cost her everything. Sometimes the best revenge isn't yelling, or fighting, or stooping to someone's level. Sometimes it's standing your ground, doing your homework, and letting the truth, and a little concrete, do the talking. So next time a neighbor tries to play demolition derby with your life, remember this: bullies never expect their victims to fight back with stone-cold evidence.